Okay, hey everyone. I am in Exodus chapter 22 and 23. A lot of small little moral laws being presented here. We see laws of restitution. If you steal my sheep, actually, if we practice this today and had this kind of justice system, I think it would eliminate a lot of criminality. We've talked about that on a previous devotional. But if you come and you steal my sheep, then when you're caught, you don't have to give me back my sheep. You have to give me back my sheep plus 4 of yours. You know what I mean? That would eliminate theft pretty quickly. But just take care of the orphan and widow. Do not allow a sorceress to live. There's just so many do not charge interest toward. A lot of these are permissible today. I mean, in fact, I think they would be very wise. I'm even moving into chapter 23, don't spread false reports. So it's really easy. Do not help a wicked man by being a malicious witness. That makes sense. That's a moral obligation that we ought to practice today. So a number of these Old Testament laws, we either automatically practice as Christians, or we take it to the next level, an even higher moral level, than what is being practiced back then, because he was just laying down the basics, and we can go beyond that now in the age of grace. Do not deny justice to the poor. That's verse 6, 23:6. Do not accept a bribe. That's 23:8. You see, so all of this is completely. We think of the Old Testament law as being irrelevant for us today because we're under grace, but all of these are principles still for today. Do not oppress the alien. So even those who come into your country, now I'm not talking about the policies of learning English or becoming a citizen of America, but just the basic essence is don't be mean. Love people. You know what I mean? You can still disagree with the whole policy of our politically, or open borders, and still love people that come across the border. I don't see any conflict with that. All right. Do good to everyone. He even goes on to say, this is 23 verse 4, if you come across your enemy's ox or donkey that has wandered off, take it back to him. Love your enemies. This is simple. If you see the donkey of someone who hates you fallen down under its load, don't leave it there. Help it up. Love your enemies. We see all throughout the Old Testament and New Testament, of course. 23:10, 6 years you are to sow your fields and harvest, but in the 7th year, let them lie unplowed and unused. Actually, this is the 7th year for one of our gardens. So, Abishai and the kids have decided we're not going to plant anything in that garden. We're just going to leave it fallow for a year. Now, one of the other gardens, this is not the 7th year because we created this one. I think it's in year 5 or 6. So that one we're planting. But the kids wanted to practice this. There's no harm in that. It's great. Fantastic. 6 days you shall work. On the 7th day, you need to rest. I think that's for our benefit. It's not, all of these laws are for our benefit, not because God is, harsh or demanding. But going down, let me just finish out with a couple verses here in Exodus chapter 23. A couple other key things, and we'll go down to, let's say, verse 23. So 23:23. But before we get there, I have all these highlighted, so as I'm just kind of flying through this, no one is to appear before me empty-handed. I like that one. When we come before the Lord, we need to offer him something. He's incredible. You don't come before a king empty-handed. You bring a gift. Verse 19 says, bring the best of the first fruits of your soil. What can we offer? Ultimately, it's our heart. It's our life. We should lay our lives down in surrender to the king. How much more do we view possessions as belonging to him as well, and us just stewards of the resources that he has temporarily given us? Here's the big thing, verse 20 and 23, and we'll end there. See, I am sending an angel ahead of you to guard you along the way and to bring you to the place I have prepared. Pay attention to him and listen to what he says. Do not rebel against him. He will not forgive your rebellion, since my name is in him. If you listen carefully to what he says and do all that I say, I will be an enemy to your enemies and will oppose those who oppose you. My angel will go ahead of you and bring you into the land of the Amorites, Hittites, Perizzites, Canaanites, Hivites, and Jebusites, and I will wipe them out. So let's stop there and focus on 20 through 23 to conclude. He says, I'm sending this angel. This is the same angel. That's the pillar of cloud. It's the pillar of fire. It's the angel of the Lord. The word angel, most often in the New Testament and Old Testament, can very easily be translated messenger. One who is sent, a messenger. So in a general sense, this is God's representative to humanity, which is exactly what Jesus was. Jesus was the sent one from God, God's messenger, God's representative. Angel, we tend to think of those, flying around with wings. This is the angel of the Lord sent to guard you along the way. That's wonderful. Jesus guards us, protects us. Do you see the parallel? Brings us to the place, so he's guiding us, he's leading us. Fantastic. I love that. Protection and guidance. Pay attention to him and listen to him. Do not rebel, because he will not forgive your rebellion. It's not I won't forgive your rebellion, he. So it's assigning divine characteristics to this messenger. And then he goes on to say, since my name is in him. So they have the same name. Since my name is in him, is upon him. We're sharing the same name. And in the NIV, the N is capital. So you think back, do you remember in Exodus chapter 3, Moses says, who should I say is sending me? And he says, I am that I am. I am is sending you. And then you remember in the New Testament, in John chapter 8, when they were questioning about this, Jesus made this very inflammatory statement. He said, I am the I am, back in Exodus chapter 3. So Jesus he's basically taking the same name as Yahweh, as the Lord, back in Exodus 3. So they do share the same name, I am. And that's why God's saying, my name is in him. We're sharing the same name. And we see these divine attributes. If you listen carefully to what he says and do all that I say. Do you see the synonymous? What he says, I say. In the same verse, same line. I will be an enemy to your enemies and will oppose those who oppose you. My angel will go ahead of you. My messenger will go ahead of you and bring you into the land, and I will wipe them out. Well, that's all being accomplished through the messenger, through the sent one, which is Jesus. So it's kind of cryptic. When you first read it, it's like, you would maybe be inclined to just think of a normal angel, Gabriel, Michael, someone along that line. But when you begin to study these passages, be very crystal clear, especially with the divine attributes that are attributed to this individual, that this was Jesus. I think he's always had the role of representing God to humanity. And we see that in the Old Testament. We also see that in the New Testament. And these characteristics along the way of, I will guard you, I will guide you, I'll bring you into the land, I'll go ahead of you, and I will be the one who is primarily responsible to give you victory along the way. And I think those are wonderful parallels for us to receive and accept in our lives today. What an encouragement. The Lord is with us. He's guarding us. He's guiding us. He's going ahead of us, and he is fighting our battles. The key is, this is the difficult thing that we all struggle with on a daily basis. How do we align ourselves in the center of his will? Because if we can do that, everything, we can have confidence that this is applying to us. If the Israelites were not following the cloud, the pillar of fire, they're just going off, wandering off in their own direction, they can't have confidence of the application of these verses to their life. So the key to all of this is alignment with the will of the Lord. Are you willing to engage in that today. All right. Till next time. God bless.